Leona stood behind the counter of her small restaurant, Bliss, wiping the same spot for the fifth time. The chairs were neatly arranged. The white and gold decor shimmered under the afternoon sunlight. The delicious smell of jollof rice, fried plantain, and pepper soup filled the air. But no one came in. She sighed and glanced at the wall clock. It was already 2:17 p.m. The lunch hour was almost over, yet not a single customer had walked through the door. Her heart sank. "This can't be happening," she whispered to herself. She walked slowly to the kitchen, removed her apron, and slumped into the wooden chair beside the fridge. Her stomach growled, but she had lost her appetite. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She had dreamed of owning a restaurant since she was 13. She used to cook for her siblings while their mother worked late. Her food always brought smiles. It was her passion, her joy. After saving for years, working extra hours, skipping outings, even selling her old jewelry, she finally opened Bliss. It was everything she had imagined. But nobody came. She had printed flyers, posted online, even walked the streets offering samples. Still, no customers. Leona wiped her tears with the back of her hand. She stood up, trying to stay strong. "This is just a bad week," she mumbled, but she wasn't convinced. By evening, the restaurant lights reflected on the empty plates. She had cooked so much food, none of it touched. She locked up and walked home. It was a quiet walk through dim streets and the buzzing noise of city life that ignored her pain. In her tiny apartment, she prayed. "God, I know I worked hard. I know I'm not lazy. Please, I need a miracle. Don't let Bliss die like this." Each night became a ritual of tears, prayers, and desperation. Her debt piled up. Her landlord started asking for rent. The bank sent her reminders about her business loan. One night, she received a call from her mother. "How's the restaurant, my dear?" Leona forced a smile. "It's okay, Mama. We're pushing." She didn't want to break her mother's heart. Her family had sacrificed so much to help her. The next morning, she opened Bliss again. Empty. She cleaned the tables, even though they weren't used. She lit a scented candle near the entrance. She adjusted the welcome sign. Hours passed. She went to the kitchen and sat down again, her eyes filled with tears. Suddenly, the bell above the entrance chimed. Her heart jumped. She rushed out. A beautiful woman stood at the entrance, dressed in a flowing silver gown, her eyes sharp and mysterious. Leona smiled, wiping her face quickly. "Welcome to Bliss. Please have a seat." But the woman didn't sit. Leona hesitated. "Would you like something to eat?" she asked, handing her the menu. The woman tilted her head, a faint smirk playing on her lips. "Nothing. My name is Seelan. I'm here to help you." Leona blinked. "Help me?" Seelan's eyes scanned the entire restaurant, then returned to Leona's face. "This place is too beautiful to be this empty, but the world doesn't always respond to beauty alone. I can help." Leona stepped back slightly. "I don't understand. Who are you?" Seelan reached into her purse and brought out a small glass bottle. It glowed faintly, filled with something that looked like golden oil. "Add a drop of this to every plate you serve," she said. "Your restaurant will become the talk of the town. But there's one rule. Always keep the energy here happy. If sadness, anger, or despair takes over, everything will fall apart." Leona stared at the bottle in confusion. "What is this? What kind of help is this?" "It's magic," Seelan replied simply, "but it needs happiness to survive." Before Leona could ask another question, Seelan turned around and walked away, disappearing into the street. like mist. Leona stood frozen, the bottle in her hand. She didn't believe in magic, but part of her wanted to, desperately. She tucked the bottle away in her apron and went back to cleaning the counters. That night, things got worse. Her landlord came and banged on the door. "You have 5 days, Leona. I can't keep waiting." The next morning, her phone rang. It was the loan officer. "Miss Leona, your loan payments are overdue. We'll begin repossession if no action is taken." She sat in the restaurant, her mind a storm. Finally, she reached into her apron and pulled out the bottle. She stared at it for a long time. Her conscience fought her. "This isn't real," she whispered. "My food is good enough. I don't need tricks." She tried to believe it, but her heart was breaking. The next day, a young man walked in. He looked lost, but kind. "Is this Bliss?" he asked. "Yes," Leona said quietly. "Please have a seat." She went to the kitchen, heart pounding. She prepared the food carefully. Then she opened the bottle and let one drop fall into the stew. She watched it vanish instantly. She served the food, nervous. The young man took a bite. His eyes widened. "This is amazing. I've never tasted anything like this." Leona smiled. "Thank you." The next day, he returned, with 2 friends. The day after that, more people came. By the end of the week, Bliss was packed. Leona cooked from morning till night. She was exhausted, but happy. She added 1 drop of the potion into every meal. Soon, she had to hire 2 waitresses and another chef. Money started flowing. She paid off her debts. Her landlord became friendly. Her family was proud. But one day, she made a mistake. Alice, the youngest waitress, had dropped a tray of food. Customers were watching. Leona lost her temper. "How many times will you mess up, Alice?" she shouted. "Are you that careless?" Alice froze, eyes wide, then ran to the corner of the restaurant and cried. The joyful mood disappeared. Customers looked uncomfortable. Leona ignored it and continued working. That night, she noticed something odd. One table complained of stomach pain. The next day, someone screamed when they found a small bug in their food. By the 3rd day, Bliss was chaos. People shouted. Some demanded refunds. Online reviews turned negative. Rumors started. "There's something wrong with Bliss. It's cursed." Leona was horrified. Staff started quitting. The lights in the restaurant seemed dimmer. She sat in the kitchen, holding the empty potion bottle. Then Celine returned. She walked in slowly, eyes filled with knowing. "You forgot the one rule, Leona." Leona stood up, exhausted. "I didn't mean to. It was just one moment." "One moment is all it takes," Celine said. Leona pleaded, "Please help me again." "I can, but this time you'll owe me something greater." Leona paused. She looked around at what her restaurant had become. "No," she said quietly, "I'll fix it myself. I don't want magic. I want to earn this." Celine smiled faintly. "Good luck then," and she vanished. Leona closed Bliss for a week. She cleaned every inch. She reached out to Alice and apologized. She posted a heartfelt message online, admitting her mistake and promising to start fresh. People responded. Bit by bit, old customers returned. New ones came by curiosity. This time, she used no potion. She greeted every customer with joy. She smiled at her staff. She played music. She laughed again. The restaurant slowly came back to life. Years passed. Leona opened her 3rd branch. At the opening, she told her story about the woman, the bottle, the price of shortcuts, and the power of belief, hard work, and joy. Leona's third restaurant opening was nothing short of magical, but this time it wasn't because of any potion. Guests arrived in large numbers: bloggers, food critics, former skeptics, even a few celebrities from town. All of them gathered to taste what they now called the food of redemption. Leona, standing in a white and gold chef's coat, held back tears as she welcomed each guest. Alice stood by her side, now the restaurant manager. They shared a look of pride. From a timid, tearful waitress, Alice had grown into a confident leader. Everything looked perfect. But life, as Leona had learned, never stayed simple. 3 months after the new branch opened, Bliss became a city sensation. Television shows featured her. News articles praised her. From near ruin to culinary queen, one headline read, "It felt like a dream." Then one rainy night, as she closed the restaurant alone, she heard a knock at the back door. It startled her. No one ever came there. She opened it slowly. There stood a thin, barefoot young girl, soaked and trembling. "Please," the girl whispered, "can I have something to eat?" Leona's heart broke. She quickly brought the girl inside, gave her a towel, and heated a bowl of soup. "What's your name?" Leona asked softly. "Amira," the girl replied, wrapping the towel tightly around her shoulders. "Where's your family?" "They left me," she said simply, without emotion. "I don't know where to go. I just kept walking and saw your lights." Leona sat beside her. "You're safe now, okay?" Amira looked up. Her eyes were deep and dark. "Thank you, Miss Bliss." Leona froze. No one called her that. That name belonged to someone else. Someone she had once been. Someone touched by magic and consequence. She brushed it off. "You can stay here tonight." Leona offered her the tiny staff room in the back and left her to rest. The next day, Amira insisted on helping. She swept, folded napkins, even helped serve water to guests. Days passed, and Amira became a silent but constant presence. Customers loved her sweet spirit. She worked with such care, almost as if the restaurant meant something sacred to her. Everything was going so well, until something mysterious started happening. One night, after closing, Alice approached Leona. "I've noticed something odd," she whispered. "What is it?" Leona asked, concerned. Alice lowered her voice. "The kitchen. Some of the ingredients are being moved. Things aren't where we leave them." Dear amazing viewers, what do you think is the mystery behind the ingredients being moved in the kitchen? How will it affect the restaurant? Please keep watching to find out. Before I continue, I would like to ask you to kindly subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and turn on the notification bell. Much appreciation. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back and thank you so much. Now back to the story. Leona raised an eyebrow. "You think Amira is stealing?" "No," Alice said. "I think she's doing something to them." Leona shook her head. "She's just a child." But the very next week, things began to shift again. The food tasted better. Too good. One customer cried after eating a simple bowl of egusi soup. Another claimed her fish stew healed a 2-week cough. Some began to call her food miraculous. Leona grew afraid. She marched into the kitchen that night and confronted Amira. "Tell me the truth. Are you adding something to my food?" Amira didn't blink. "I'm only helping it reach its full potential." Leona's eyes narrowed. "Where are you from, Amira?" The girl looked down. You once believed you needed a potion to be great. You think you turned away from it, but magic always finds those who have touched it. What are you saying? Leona whispered, stepping back. Amira stood. Celine sent me. She's watching. Leona's knees buckled. Celine. That name hadn't been spoken in over a year. Amira continued, her voice echoing. She didn't like that you walked away. You broke the balance. You tried to rewrite destiny. Leona gripped the counter. I did what was right. I earned my success. Amira's eyes softened. But you didn't close the door. Magic needs a container. You left it open. That night, Leona couldn't sleep. She paced the floor, her heart racing. Had she invited another curse? Was this success hers, or borrowed again? She rushed to her journals and pulled out the bottle Celine once gave her. She had hidden it deep in a drawer years ago. To her horror, it was empty, but cracked. A thin golden stain surrounded it. Something had leaked. Someone had used it. Amira? She turned to the wall and cried. The next morning, she closed the restaurant. All 3 branches. People were shocked. Some protested, others begged. But Leona needed answers. She returned to the spot where she first met Celine. The street was older now, run down. The cafe next door was gone. Still, she stood there. Celine, she whispered into the wind, if you can hear me, I need to speak with you. Hours passed. Nothing happened. But at dusk, a taxi pulled up beside her. The back window rolled down. Celine sat there in a navy coat, her eyes hidden behind dark glasses. You called? Leona approached the car slowly. Why did you send that girl? Celine smiled. Because you were forgetting. Forgetting the cost. Forgetting that magic doesn't just disappear because you close your eyes. I don't want it, Leona shouted. Celine stepped out. The air grew colder. Then seal the door, Celine said simply. Find the source. Break it. Leona didn't understand. Celine stepped back into the car. You'll know what to do. The car drove off, disappearing into thin air just a block away. Leona spent days thinking. She returned to her restaurant, walked the floors, touched every table. Then she entered the storage room. Amira was there. I knew you'd come, she said. Leona stared at her. Are you even real? I'm what's left of the magic, the piece you didn't clean out. I want to end this, Leona said, her voice breaking. I want peace. Amira nodded. Then you must let me go. Leona hesitated. How? Say the words, Amira said gently, and mean them. Leona closed her eyes. Her voice trembled. I release all ties to unnatural favor. I choose truth. I choose the work of my hands. I release you. When she opened her eyes, Amira was gone. Just like that. The restaurant felt lighter. That evening, Leona reopened bliss. No special tricks, no magic, just food and love and joy. Her loyal customers returned. This time, not because of the food alone, but because of who she was. At her next grand opening, she didn't cut a ribbon. She told her story again. Every detail. About belief, about shortcuts, about the price of forgetting who you are. And this time, the applause came with tears. Not for the food, but for the woman behind it. Months passed since the strange encounter with Amira ended, and life, for the first time in a long while, felt quiet. Not empty, not magical, just peaceful. Leona no longer feared shadows or mysterious visitors. Her heart no longer raced when the restaurant got too full or too empty. She had found something even more powerful than success: clarity. Bliss had returned to its roots. Warm colors, laughter, simple, delicious food, made with love and intention. The walls echoed with joy again, not because of potions or enchantments, but because of people. Her people. Alice, now thriving as the operations manager, often joked, "Chef, we've gone from cursed to booked." Customers came not only to eat, but to experience the calm that Bliss gave. It was more than a restaurant now. It was a reminder. One evening, Leona sat outside the third branch during sunset, sipping Zobo from a cold glass. Across the table sat her younger brother, Dan, who had flown in from London just to see her new success. "You know," he said, "you could expand this to 5 cities if you want." Leona smiled. "Maybe, but not now. I'm not chasing growth. I'm building roots." Dan raised his brow. "That's deep." Leona chuckled. "You'd be deep too if you once fought off a walking, talking curse." He laughed with her, not realizing just how serious she was. Later that night, Leona stayed behind alone, like she often did. She walked into the kitchen, ran her hand over the granite counter, and whispered a quiet "thank you." She had everything now, not in riches, but in peace, in purpose. Just as she turned to leave, the lights flickered for a moment. Her heart skipped. But it wasn't fear this time. It was understanding. A quiet reminder that what she'd been through wasn't a dream. It was part of her story. The next day, Leona launched a campaign she called The Honest Kitchen. She began training other young chefs and entrepreneurs. She spoke at colleges and women's empowerment conferences, not about recipes, but about resilience, choices, and inner strength. Her story spread beyond her town. It inspired others to resist shortcuts, to believe in their hard work, and to build with purpose. At her first International Food Summit, as she stood on stage, someone from the audience asked, "If you could go back and do it all again, would you still open that door for Ceylon?" Leona paused, then smiled. "I would open it," she said, "but I wouldn't walk through it." The crowd was silent for a second, and then erupted in applause. Later that night, in her hotel room, Leona stood by the window, overlooking the glowing city lights. She held a small wooden box in her hands. Inside it, wrapped in cloth, was the cracked, empty bottle Ceylon once gave her. She had kept it, not out of fear, but as a reminder of how far she'd come. She looked at it one last time, whispered, "Goodbye," and tossed it gently into the fireplace. The flames consumed it quickly, leaving nothing but ash. And in that moment, Leona knew. Her story was no longer one of magic, but of mastery. Not of potions, but of perseverance. Not of shortcuts, but of strength. She had become the woman she dreamed of. Not because someone gave her the power, but because she reclaimed it. And as the fire burned low and the night grew still, Bliss, her legacy, stood stronger than ever. A beacon of hope, a home of healing, and proof that real magic comes from within. Before you watch the next video, kindly subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Please click on the subscribe button and like this video. Be a part of my channel's growth by clicking on the next video on the screen and drop a comment to let me know what you think about the story. Thank you for watching. Much appreciation.